Hello friends, welcome to the training session today. My name is Soni and I'll be your trainer for this session. Well, today's session is on conversation using past tense. We have completed past tense. We've done the different forms of past tense. So today you listen to some interesting conversations, and these conversations would be followed by an exercise. So listen to the conversation carefully so that you do not miss anything. And when I ask you questions from the exercise, you should be in a position to answer them correctly. We'll start with the first conversation, and the name of the conversation is The House Where I Was Born. So listen to the conversation carefully and it will be followed by a small exercise.
I remember the house where I was born.
You do? I'm amazed. I remember nothing before I was 5 years old.
I don't remember the day I was born. My father was posted to Shimla in the 80s. We had been living in an old wooden house in Longwood for years. I was born there.
What do you remember of the house?
It was a two-storied house. There were 2 rooms on the ground floor. There was also a wide staircase leading up to the first floor. I don't think I ever entered those rooms.
Why not?
I suppose they were too cold and dark. But the 2 rooms on the first floor were bright and sunny. And there was a big veranda too. I used to play there all day.
So did you understand the conversation? Well, just not enjoying is enough. You had to note down certain things. Which tense was used? Where was the past tense used? Well, let me just do a brief understanding of the conversation with you. The conversation takes place in the present. Both of them were talking. They were talking in the present. One of the speakers talks about the past. She was explaining about the house where she was born and she was talking about her past. Both present and past verbs are used. Obviously, because she was talking about her past, she was using past verbs. And because they were talking at present, so present verbs were also used. I remember the house where I was born. Now, I remember. This part is in the present. She remembers it right now. Where I was born. Was born means जहाँ वो पैदा हुई थी. So it's a past tense. In the same sentence, you have a past part and a present part. I remember is your present part. I was born becomes the past one. Let's do a little exercise, an easy one. And what you're supposed to do is, you need to identify the form of past tense used in the sentences. The tense is past, but as you remember, the past tense has 4 forms: simple, continuous, perfect, perfect continuous. You need to pick out which form is being used in the sentence. Let's start with the exercise. The first sentence. My father was posted to Shimla in the 80s. My father was posted to Shimla in the 80s. Next, we had been living in an old wooden house in Longwood for years. We had been living in an old wooden house in Longwood for years. Next, there was also a wide staircase leading up to the first floor. There was also a wide staircase leading up to the first floor. Next, I don't think I had ever entered those rooms. I don't think I had ever entered those rooms. Last one. I used to play there all day. I used to play there all day. So these sentences were in past tense and you had to identify the form of past tense being used. Let's move on to the solutions. The first sentence, my father was posted to Shimla in the 80s. Was posted gives you an idea that the sentence is in simple past form. It's the simple past tense. Next one. We had been living in an old wooden house in Longwood for years. Had been. Remember, had been gets the past perfect tense. Living, the ing with the verb makes it continuous. So the tense becomes past perfect good continuous. Next, there was also a wide staircase leading up to the first floor. Leading up. The verb lead has an ing attached to it. So the tense here is past continuous tense. Next, I don't think I had ever entered those rooms. I had ever entered. Had entered makes it past perfect tense. Very good. I used to play there all day. A simple past tense being used in this sentence. So I hope the concept of past tense is clear to you. If not, don't worry. We do have a couple more conversations and exercises after each conversation. So towards the end of the session, I guess you'll be a master of past tense. Now let us just keep some points in mind and let's remember something. We describe our daily routine in which tense? You tell me? Good, present tense. Remember I had given you the example, I get up at 5:30 in the morning. That is your daily routine. तो आप अपने दिन का काम जो आप रोज करते हो वो present tense में बताते हो. We describe an incident in the past in which tense? Good, past tense. जो काम पहले हो चुका है उसके बारे में इंग्लिश में बोलने में आप past tense यूज करोगे. And for a routine in the past, we may use the term used to and proceed in the present tense. For example, I used to go for a morning walk when I was 8 years old. मतलब ये आपका रूटीन था पर बहुत पहले का रूटीन है जब आप 8 years के थे. इस वजह से used to हमने यूज किया है. Now this was the first conversation. We have another conversation lined up for you. Listen to this one carefully and we'll have an exercise after the conversation. This conversation is titled At Kaziranga. Okay, listen to it very carefully.
That's a beautiful decoration piece, a hippo. Where did you get that from?
Actually, it's a rhino. It's a memento from my last vacation.
Really? Tell me about your last vacation.
Oh, I had gone to visit a friend in Guwahati. We took a 2-day trip to Kaziranga National Park in Assam.
What is the park like?
It's a wildlife sanctuary spread over 450 miles. It's the home of the one-horned rhino, the only place in the world where they are found.
Did you actually see any rhinos?
Of course. We actually rode on elephants into the tall grass. It was a unique experience.
How tall was the grass?
It's called elephant grass. It was at least 7 or 8 feet high, higher in places. At times, the smaller elephants were hidden in the grass.
How did you manage to see the rhino? They are not as tall as elephants, are they?
No, they are not. There were clearings near water sources. The rhinos were feeding in these spots. The elephants, loaded with tourists, went within 20 feet of the rhinos.
Couldn't they go closer?
They were not too happy to go even that close. As we neared the rhinos, the elephants positioned themselves in an arrow-shaped formation with the tusker in the lead. Rhinos are fierce animals, you know.
Now I know.
So, what did you learn from the conversation? Did you learn anything about rhinos? And do you know that they are different from elephants? Good. Let us note certain points about the conversation. The speaker uses the present tense while giving general information. When one of the speaker asks the other one, "What is Kaziranga all about?" the speaker replies and uses present tense. For example, it's a wildlife sanctuary. It is present tense. Spread over 450 miles. It is the home of the one-horned rhino, the only place in the world where they are found. So everything, if you notice, is in present tense while describing the national park. The speaker narrates her experiences in the past tense. Now, the experience the speaker had gone through, she narrates the experiences in the past tense. The description of the park is in present and the experiences are narrated in past tense. For example, we actually rode on elephants into the tall grass. It was a unique experience. So, rode and was, these two words, what do they tell you? कि ये सब past tense में है. अपने जो भी उनके साथ घटनाएं हुई वो past tense में बताएंगे और जब वो डिस्क्राइब कर रहे हैं पार्क को, उसके अंदर राइनोस को, एलिफेंट्स को, वो सारा डिस्क्रिप्शन प्रेजेंट टेंस में है. And do you know one interesting thing? That rhino is only a nickname. What is the proper name of the animal? Anyone? Rhino एक short form है. असली नाम तो कुछ और ही है. Yes, you know it, but you can't pronounce it? Not a problem. It's rhinoceros. Not rhinoceros, but rhinoceros. So now if someone uses the word rhino, you know who they are talking about. They are talking about rhinoceros. Good. And if I'm not wrong, in the conversation, you had the word hippo. Hippo is used for which animal? Yes, it is for hippopotamus. That is the short form for hippopotamus. Let's move on to the exercise. You need to correct the following sentences. There is something wrong with the sentence. You need to find out what it is and then correct it. Let's start with the sentence. We take a vacation to Kashmir last year. We take a vacation to Kashmir last year. I'll do the first one for you. Now in this sentence, we are talking about last year. We are not talking about today or right now. But we are using the verb take, which is wrong. You're talking about past, so you'll use the past form of the verb take. It is, we took a vacation. Now do you get what are you supposed to do? correct the other sentences in a similar way. Next one. Kashmir was a beautiful valley. Kashmir was a beautiful valley. Next, we had visit Srinagar, Gulmarg and Gurez. We had visit Srinagar, Gulmarg and Gurez. Next one. The Vular Lake was the largest lake in the valley. The Vular Lake was the largest lake in the valley. Next. The Jhelum flow out of the valley at Baramulla. The Jhelum flow out of the valley at Baramulla. Now these were some of the incorrect sentences. Let's go ahead and correct them. Let's look at the solutions. I did the first one for you, so we'll start from the second sentence. Kashmir was a beautiful valley. This is what was given to you, but the correct form is Kashmir is. Kashmir is still there. It's not history, it is still existing. So we use the word is instead of was. Next, we had visit Srinagar, Gulmarg and Gurez. Now you had, it's past tense. The word had tells you it's past. So instead of visit, you will say, what will you say? Good. It is we had visited, T-E-D. Next one. The Vular Lake was the largest lake in the valley. Now the Vular Lake is still the largest one. It's not history. So instead of was, you will say is. Next, the Jhelum flow out of the valley at Baramulla. Now this sentence means कि उस time Jhelum उस valley से बहती थी, आज नहीं बह रही. But that is wrong. It still flows out. So instead of flow, you will use the Jhelum flows out of the valley. Very good. Now do you understand how an incorrect usage of tense can make the entire sentence wrong? In fact, the meaning of the sentence is lost, or it can be misconveyed if you do not use the correct tense. We'll move on to the next conversation. It's an interesting one. The title of the conversation is It Happened Last Night. Now, if you need to find out what happened last night, listen to the conversation carefully.
Haven't you heard the news?
No, what happened?
The house on the corner of the street was robbed last night.
What? How did it happen?
A gang broke in at night. The Guptas were woken up by armed men. The entire family was locked up in the bathrooms. Then the gang looted the house and walked out through the front door.
And nobody tried to stop them?
No, the gang had actually loaded the loot into the family car and they just drove away.
Have they informed the police?
Of course. When I dropped by the house in the morning, the police were investigating the case. They were questioning the servants and the neighbors.
Why didn't the servants do something?
They were away visiting their relatives.
That sounds suspicious.
Well, when they returned in the morning, they were questioned by the police and their statements taken down in writing.
Is that all the police were doing?
The inspector in charge of the case was directing a team of investigators in collecting evidence. One man was taking photographs, another was looking for fingerprints, a third man was making an inventory of the stolen items.
What all was taken?
Money, jewelry, a computer, a television set, mobile phones and ATM cards. And the car, of course. It was a Tata Indigo.
The blue one? So now I hope the suspense is over and you know what had happened last night. A big robbery. And do you remember what all did the thieves take along with them? You do? Okay, so before leaving your house, make sure you check the locks and check them twice so that next time you are not a part of the story. Alright? Okay, so let's go ahead and do a little exercise based on the conversation. It's a simple exercise. You just need to remember what the conversation was about, and it will be easy for you to answer the questions. You need to answer true or false. I'll read out a statement for you and just check whether it's correct or not. Let's get started with the exercise. The first statement. The robbers were carrying weapons. What do you think? Were they carrying any weapons? You don't remember? Well, you should have heard the conversation carefully. Next, they killed Mr. Gupta. Did they kill Mr. Gupta or not? Try and remember. Next, they came on horses. They came on horses. Next, they also stole the microwave oven. I don't remember whether they did or not. You need to remember this. Did they steal the microwave oven? Next, the servants were locked into the bathrooms. The servants were locked into the bathrooms. Last one. They stole the Gupta's Maruti 800. So which was the car that was stolen? Was it Mr. Gupta's Maruti 800? You don't remember? You do? Ask your friend, maybe he remembers. Now let's go ahead and check whether you've got them correct or not. Let's check the solutions. The first one, the robbers were carrying weapons. It's true, they were carrying weapons. Which weapons? Go through the conversation, it's in your workbook. Because I will not tell you everything, otherwise you'll get into a habit of spoon feeding. You need to check it out yourself. Next, they killed Mr. Gupta. I think Mr. Gupta to bach gaye the shayad, so this is false. They did not kill Mr. Gupta. Next, they came on horses. Well, we are just talking about robbers. हम डाकुओं की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. So they did not come on horses. This is also false. Next, they also stole the microwave oven, which is not mentioned anywhere. So it's also false. Next one. The servants were locked into the bathrooms. Were they locked in the bathroom? No. Again, this one is also false. They stole the Gupta's Maruti 800. Now they did steal a car, but which one? No, the Guptas had a Tata Indigo, a family car. So this one is also false. Let's move on to another exercise based on the same conversation. In this exercise, you need to tell me what action has the police not taken. Now, while the two speakers were talking, they did mention what all did the police do. So I'll specify certain statements and you need to pick out which is the action that was not taken by the police. The first statement, they have questioned the servants. They have questioned the servants. Next, they have questioned the neighbors. They have questioned the neighbors. Next one, they have taken photographs of the house. They have taken photographs of the house. Next, they have looked for fingerprints. They have looked for fingerprints. Next one, they have informed the reporters. They have informed the reporters. Last one, they have made a list of the stolen items. They have made a list of the stolen items. So these were certain actions. Quickly note down the actions that were not taken by the police. Let's check the answer. Now, out of all the actions that I read out to you, there's only one action that was not taken by the police, and that is they have informed the reporters. This is one thing that was not done. All the other actions were taken by the police. So the answer is they have informed the reporters. I hope this conversation was clear to you and it also helped you increase your memory power. Now let's move on to the next conversation. It's a conversation titled Meeting Old Friends. Let's see who's meeting whom and listen to the conversation carefully. Hi Preeti.
Good morning, Neetu. Nice to see a bright face on a Monday morning.
It was a great day yesterday.
Really? What did you do yesterday?
Well, I woke up late in the morning.
Of course, Sunday is a day of rest.
Indeed. I got out of bed at 11 o'clock. I had 2 cups of tea and wondered what to eat for lunch.
I bet you ate parathas.
I did. I opted for aloo paranthas with curd and a pat of fresh butter.
And then you lazed in front of the TV.
I watched a really good film on TV, Raincoat. Have you seen this one?
I started watching it one day but found it too boring. I am surprised that you liked that film.
Why?
Because it's so slow and sober.
The story is really good. 2 friends meet after years but have fallen on hard times. Both try to hide the fact from each other, but they know each other too well. The film ends with each friend giving the other what little they have themselves. I felt so touched by the story.
You're a sensitive person. And what has made you feel so happy today?
Oh, an old friend dropped in late in the evening. It's so nice to catch up after years. So how was the story? I mean, the story of the movie Raincoat. How many of you have seen the movie? Good. I really loved watching this movie. It was a great movie with a lot of meaning. I hope for those of you who've not seen it or did not like it in the first attempt, go ahead and do see it once again. You'll really like it, I'm sure. Well, once the conversation is over, it's my time to give you an exercise to do. I'll read out a passage for you, a small one, and you need to identify the verbs in past tense. All the verbs that are in past tense, underline them. Okay? So let's start with the exercise. The story is really good. 2 friends meet after years. Both have fallen on hard times. Both try to hide the fact from each other, but they know each other too well. The film ends with each friend giving the other what little they have themselves. I felt so touched by the story. I'll read it out for you once more and do underline all the verbs in past tense. The story is really good. 2 friends meet after years. Both have fallen on hard times. Both try to hide the fact from each other, but they know each other too well. The film ends with each friend giving the other what little they have themselves. I felt so touched by the story. I'll give you some time. Underline all the verbs which are in past tense. I hope by now you can identify the verbs. We've done so many examples, so many exercises, and a couple of conversations as well. Okay, let's start with the solutions. The verb which is in past tense in the entire passage is felt so touched. That's the last line. I felt so touched. Felt so touched means मुझे उस time जब मैं वो movie देख रही थी, I felt really touched. I really liked it. Okay, it really influenced me a lot. So felt so touched is your verb which is in past tense. Now the film review, whenever you are narrating the story of a movie, it's always done in present tense. Like in the conversation we just heard, when the speaker was narrating the story of the movie Raincoat, she was narrating it in present tense. Two friends meet after years. Meet means present tense. Then both have fallen. Everything in the narration was in present tense. But then, how the speaker liked the movie or the speaker's opinion, response to the movie, all that is in past tense. Remember, we did a similar example earlier wherein I told you that the experience of the speaker is in past tense. Similar is the case here. The experience or the response to the movie is in past tense, but the description of the movie or the narration of the story of the movie is in present tense. Now there's another exercise based on the conversation you've just heard. In this exercise, you need to make any corrections if required. I'll read out some sentences to you. Listen to each sentence. Try and find out if there are any corrections to be made and make those corrections. Let's start with the first sentence. Neetu usually wakes up early in the morning. Neetu usually wakes up early in the morning. Now I hope you remember what time does Neetu wake up, and you need to think whether that's early in the morning or not. Next one. On Sundays, she wakes up late. On Sundays, she wakes up late. Usually on Sundays, all of us wake up late. Why? Because we don't have to go to school. We don't have to go to work. So Sunday is our fun day. So आप याद करो कि नीतू Sunday को जल्दी उठती थी या late, and please make any corrections if required. Next one. She has 2 cups of tea every morning. She has 2 cups of tea every morning. Next. She watches TV on Sunday. She watches TV on Sundays. Next sentence. She watched Raincoat last Sunday. She watched Raincoat last Sunday. Last one. She liked the film very much. She liked the film very much. Quickly make any corrections if required. Let's check the solutions. The first sentence, Neetu usually wakes up early in the morning. Is there any correction to be made? No, that's correct. She usually wakes up early in the morning. Next one, on Sundays, she wakes up late. Is there any correction to be made? No, that's correct. Next one. She has 2 cups of tea every morning. That's correct. It has to stay like that. She has 2 cups of tea every morning. No corrections to be made in this one. Next, she watches TV on Sunday. This sentence is perfectly correct. Next, she watched Raincoat last Sunday. That's also correct. We are talking about last Sunday, a past tense. So she watched Raincoat last Sunday. Next one. She liked the film very much. She liked the film very much. That's also correct, because when she watched the film, she enjoyed the movie and she liked it a lot. Now, these were certain conversations. We had a set of conversation, we had certain exercises on the conversation, and you were supposed to pick out the correct option or solve the exercises. I hope this session was great and you enjoyed a lot. So we've covered present tense, we've covered past tense. Go home, go through both the tenses, revise all the forms of the tenses so that you do not make any mistake while talking in English. और अब तक इतने टेंसेस पढ़ के आपको पता चल गया होगा कि अगर आप ठीक टेंस ना यूज़ करो तो आप इनकरेक्ट इंग्लिश बोलते हो. आई एम श्योर आज से पहले आपको लगता होगा दैट आई डू नॉट नो व्हेन टू यूज़ हैज़, इज़ कब यूज़ करना है, हैड कब यूज़ करना है, एंड इट्स टू कन्फ्यूजिंग. But if you go through the tenses carefully, concentrate on the training sessions, it will not be a problematic job for you. It won't be a big issue. So now still you have time. Do revise what we've done and do concentrate and pay attention on the later sessions as well, so that you do not miss out on anything. Now, in order to become a master with tenses, what you can do is start writing your own diary. What do you mean by a diary? Take any notebook or a notepad and from today start writing the different things that you've done since morning. What did you do in the morning? Any special event that took place? If you had a fight with your friend, or you watched a movie, you'd gone for a birthday party, you'd gone for a picnic, anything and everything that you feel like, write in that diary. वो आपकी एक पर्सनल बुक हो जाएगी और जब आप बड़े हो जाओगे तो आप अपनी डायरी पढ़ना, उससे आपको हर चीज़ दोबारा से लगेगा जैसे हो रही है, एक फ्लैशबैक चल पड़ेगा एंड यू विल रियली एंजॉय इट. एंड एन्जॉयमेंट के साथ साथ यू विल ऑल्सो लर्न, बिकॉज व्हेन यू आर राइटिंग योर डायरी यू विल हैव टू यूज़ लॉट ऑफ टेंसेस. अगर आप अपनी डायरी में अपने कोई प्लान्स बताना चाहते हो, फ्यूचर टेंस में लिखोगे. कोई पुराना एक्सपीरियंस बताना चाहते हो, पास्ट टेंस. एंड इफ समथिंग दैट हैड जस्ट हैपेंड टू यू टुडे, प्रेजेंट टेंस. So don't you think writing a diary is a good idea? Yes. So don't just think it as an idea. Go ahead and implement it. And tomorrow, get your diaries to school and make your best friend read your diary, whatever little you've written. So until next time, happy writing and keep writing your diary. Bye-bye.